Iran developing missiles that could hit U.S. Trump. Japan PM Takaichi under pressure over gift catalogs to lawmakers. Iran ready to reach an agreement with U.S. ASAP. U.S. military can sustain only days of attacks against Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that Iran is developing missiles that could eventually reach the United States, though he provided no evidence for the claim. Speaking during his State of the Union address, Trump said Iran already has missiles capable of striking Europe and U.S. bases overseas, and is now working on longer-range weapons that could threaten the United States. Trump also repeated his claim that last year's U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program. However, the statement appears to contradict recent remarks by U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, who said Iran could be as little as a week away from building a nuclear weapon. Trump said he prefers a diplomatic solution, but warned that Iran has not clearly committed to abandoning nuclear weapons. "We haven't heard those words. We will never have a nuclear weapon," he said. Iran has strongly denied pursuing nuclear arms, insisting its nuclear program is strictly for civilian purposes. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi is facing growing political pressure after reports that she sent congratulatory gift catalogs to lawmakers from her ruling party. More than 300 lawmakers from the Liberal Democratic Party were offered gifts after the party's recent election victory. Takaichi said the catalogs were a gesture of appreciation and confirmed that no taxpayer money was used. Each gift reportedly cost about 30,000 yen, roughly $190, and was funded through political party funds. Opposition leaders criticized the move, warning it could damage public trust and revive memories of past political funding scandals that forced previous leaders to resign. Takaichi defended the decision, saying the gifts were meant to support lawmakers in their future work. Japan's political funding laws ban direct donations from individuals to candidates, but allow political parties to provide support, placing the gifts in a legal gray area. The controversy has added fresh pressure on the Prime Minister just weeks after her party's election victory. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Majid Takhtravanchi has said 2 days ahead of another round of nuclear talks with Washington in Geneva on Thursday that Tehran is prepared to reach an agreement as soon as possible, Mehr news agency reported. He made the comments in an interview with the USNPR radio released on Tuesday. "We will enter the negotiating room with sincerity and goodwill," Takhtravanchi said, hoping that Iran's good approach will be reciprocated by the Americans. "If there is political will on all sides, I believe the deal can be reached as soon as possible," the Deputy Foreign Minister of Iran, who is the number 2 Iranian negotiator, further said. He stresses that the sole discussion in the upcoming Geneva meeting is the nuclear issue. In response to a question about the Iranian proposal that is going to be presented to the American side in the Geneva talks. The current U.S. military potential is sufficient for only 4 or 5 days of intensive strikes on Iran, the Financial Times reported, citing Israeli intelligence. According to the newspaper, if the U.S. launches less intense strikes, it could last a week, even considering the redeployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier to the Middle East. The Financial Times also noted that the start of the conflict could result in casualties among U.S. military personnel, which would greatly affect the MAGA, Make America Great Again electorate. On February 17th, the second round of Oman-mediated talks between the U.S. and Iran on the nuclear dossier took place in Geneva. According to Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, the parties reached a mutual understanding on several issues that could be included in the draft of a future nuclear program deal. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said that the talks went well on a number of issues, but Tehran is not yet ready to accept a number of fundamental positions outlined by the White House. Earlier, the U.S. and Israel insisted that Iran not only renounce the development of its nuclear program, but also the production of ballistic missiles and its support of pro-Iranian forces in the Middle East. It is expected that the new round of Iran-U.S. talks will take place on February 26 in Geneva.